Hey guys, it's Nino again. I want to give you guys a little bit of a fast preview of the upcoming action set that we have from NBP. It's called Texture Control Pro. It's one of our Pro series that's being developed. We're pretty much there, but we're going to add some extra little goodies to it probably before we release it. But I want to give you guys a quick preview. The three main ones are three variations, like a lot of our actions have. We have the main one, if you look up here, Texture Control Pro. And then we have the same thing, but with the subject selection already created for you. And then another one with the skin selected. Now that skin is also selected with chroma data, so it helps make it a little bit more accurate. Again, the same exact layer stack, but just with, subject mask and skin mask if you want that up front. Now, what this is, it's like frequency separation revisited is what it is. Okay, so let's look at this shot of Alex real quick. We're going to zoom in. And you see, it's a beauty style headshot, so there's a lot of detail. And this shot has actually been edited to what I consider to be just fine. I don't go crazy and super detailed and make everything look crazy, but every now and then I go back into a shot, even this one that's edited, not been color graded, it's been color corrected in Capture One, but it's not been color graded, and there's some tweaks I probably could still do. But for the most part, I'm very pleased with how the skin texture turned out. But we must remember, as a foreshadowing, texture is texture. Even here on the denim jacket, texture is texture. However, when we say frequency separation, we often think of skin. So what I want to show you guys today is a little bit of what Texture Control Pro can do in terms of having multiple frequencies available to you, where you can mix and match them depending on how you want. We have high frequency and low frequency, which is kind of a catch-all couple of terms that's not really accurate because we can set it up slightly differently. So this Texture Control Pro allows us to increase sharpness in certain areas that we want to specifically increase sharpen in with different frequency levels. And it allows us to smooth areas that we want to smoothen specifically while preserving good texture depending on which frequency we want to preserve. Let me give you a quick preview. So let's go ahead and run the main one, Texture Control Pro. It does quite a few things. So it's going to take a few seconds depending on your system. It could take 10, 15 seconds. It could take 30 seconds. It could take a minute because it's going to set up a huge layer stack. Now, this is a quick preview and things are subject to change. So we're not going to go over every single detail, but I want to give you a quick rundown. It is almost done. As I said, it sets up quite a bit. All right, so there's our huge layer stack. As you can see, there's a lot happening. Everything is set up to a black mask for the most part. And then you can start certain ways. For example, let's say right in here under her eye, let's say I want to sharpen this area right in here. Okay, a couple things. We have all kinds of methods to sharpen, but at a glance, we have all these layers over here. Okay, these are high frequency extracted parts of the skin. So if you look at the extra high texture, take a white paintbrush and paint it in full tilt, okay? We can sharpen the highest frequency. I'm going to zoom in so you can see off, on. Very, very tight frequency sharpening. I'm going to turn that layer off for a minute. Let's go to very high, okay? We can sharpen slightly higher. Oh, now it's too strong on these creases, but it looks pretty good here. Little strong, no big deal. We can change, everything from the flow to like a 20% flow and paint in that exact sharpening that we want right there. See that? And if we don't like that, we can fill that mask with black or we can turn it off. But if we go to like texture medium and paint with white, then we get a huge thick texture, especially if we put it at 100%. We get broader texture, okay? Because that's the kind of different separation that we've done here. It's done a multitude of separations at different radii to make sure that you can choose what you want to pick. So let's say I go to texture low and paint, I get a broad, thick texture, which sometimes you may or may not want depending on the situation. But that's the sharpening effect. Okay, let's turn those back on. We're going to quickly fill them with black. We might make this an automated process. You can quickly reset every layer. Now, the blur operator is down below. Real quick here. Right now, it's set up to a smart filter. So I've got Gaussian blur, surface blur, and median all set up to a default setting, which means that they're ready to go whenever you need them. You can turn them on and off. It's a smart filter. So if I paint, let's say I want to smoothen this area up here a little bit, I can paint with the Gaussian blur. Nice soft brush, paint the exact areas that I want to smooth. Use black to refine the mask a little bit. There we go. Excellent, something like that. And if I think I need more smoothing, well, double click on Gaussian blur. It's a smart filter. So now we can make it 20, smooth it even further. We don't like Gaussian, we can turn it off and turn on median. And there's median. We can double click median and make that a 20 if we want. See, that's helping us. Okay. On top of that, we can actually double up We can add Gaussian blur to the median if we really wanted to, but I'm going to turn off Gaussian for the moment. Okay, so now we have this median blur area here. Let's go ahead and paint it in some more because we want to get this area a little bit smoother, right? But now how do we bring the texture back? Well, we can choose what kind of texture we want to bring back. If we bring back extra high, fine texture, paint it with white, you see that's exactly what we're doing. It's going to be very difficult to see on the video, but there it is. Very, very fine texture. This is for fine tuning. May not be what we want. What about very high? Oh, okay. Now we're bringing back some texture that I kind of was missing when I smoothed it out. What do I turn on? Off, on, off, on. Do you see the broad texture underneath? We fixed it. Okay. And if we don't like that one, we can go to the high one. See if one more level of broadness might help us give a realistic result. And on top of that, I have a contrast booster layer on top because often contrast will be lost when you do this. Off and on. And if I have too much texture up there, which I think I do, just paint with black and, ooh, not there. Paint with black and fix some of this stuff up wherever I feel I need to. There we go. Off, on. You see the broad texture? We got rid of it. So now we zoom out. We realize we got rid of all the broad texture and left the tight texture. The entire layer stack can be set to like, I don't know, 75%. And you're like, I like that. Stamp to new layer. You can get rid of the texture control stack and keep rolling. So it's a way to, let's start off and on. Let's zoom in real quick. Okay. Off and on. See that? It's a way to control texture in a hurry when you don't know what frequencies you necessarily want to preserve or enhance when you're smoothing or sharpening, right? So let's go ahead and turn it on one more time. We're going to let it run. Also to give you an idea of how it runs. This could change a little bit. Like I said, subject to change. We're trying this pre-announced, pre-demo idea to see if we get feedback from people, if there's something they're interested in or something they'd like to see changed before we launch. So that's why we're getting this together ready. This is going to be Actions 16. Now, we talked about texture being texture. Let's go to the denim for a minute, okay? So I'm going to change this to median. That's my smart filter. So I can paint with white. And let's say I go right here and I paint all of this and I blur it. Now, it's not quite blurred enough for me for what I'm thinking I want to do. Now, I don't know why you'd ever want to actually do this, but I'm going to show you and remind you that frequency separation is simply that. And what we're doing here is a mix and match of frequency separation, allowing us to give realistic results or fake looking results or somewhere in between. Now let's go to median and we're going to make that like a 25. Let me see real quick. It's a little bit chunky looking, maybe a 20. Okay, I don't mind that. It's okay, I guess. You know what? Let me try Gaussian. I really want this like really, really blurred. Oh, I opened up surface. Didn't mean to do that. Let's try 25. Super soft. Okay. Now here's a quick fix. I can hold down Command or Control and click the mask I just made on the blurring operators. That'll select the illuminance of it. Control Command H to hide it. Let's go to medium, high, and invert. See that? So off, on. You see what we just did there? We took all that broad texture and removed it and only kept the good texture. So when you zoom out, the effective result, especially if I were to still have it running, I think. Let me see. I'll just get the selection real quick. I'll add the contrast. There we go. And now what I've done is I've smoothed that out, right? Just by choosing in this case, medium high worked really well. If I didn't like medium high, I could select the selection again, turn that one off temporarily and try high. High is a little bit of a tighter texture, but as you can see, I'm preserving, I'm making the denim look like it's a little bit finer denim. If I wanted to for some reason, pretty common in frequency separation, but instead of committing to one specific radius for our separation and for our high frequency, we can mix and match. We can mix and match the blurring underneath as well. You know, like right now, if I needed it still more, I can go to 35 and blur it some more. If I want it less, I can go to 10 and blur it less, you know? So this is how we're developing this to quickly control texture. We don't think this is a replacement for proper frequency separation in terms of using it properly for a beauty retouch or something like that. However, it's great for additional functions after the fact. It's potentially good for frequency separation in general. But because it's so targeted and you have to make some decisions, it's not a great catch-all. It's great for specific things that you know you want to do, whether it's skin or denim or otherwise. It's a huge stack, but that's what our Pro Series is about. So you can get the exact look that you want. Like let's say I wanted that piece of the denim solved. Cool, it's solved now. That's awesome. And then like I said, stamp to new layer, delete the layer stack, and keep rolling. And now I've got that piece of denim smooth if for some reason that's what I wanted. So that's Action 16 Texture Control Pro preview. It'll change a little bit probably, but if you have any feedback at all, please leave us a comment below, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you use texture control like this when you're trying to, either smoothen something out but still keep the good texture, or you're trying to enhance sharpness in a smarter way rather than high pass or, unsharp mask or various other plugins. This is a way to control the exact frequencies that you want. At least for now, we figured that these 7 variations that we have, the 7 frequencies, seem to work really, really well in all of our testing so far. Like I said, comments or questions, please leave them below, and look forward to Action 16 Texture Control Pro coming soon.